Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 8th July 9th Zoning Committee work session. You know, there's the question of whether or not the past still exists, so we'll just leave that one out there. My name is Douglas A. Welton, and I am the chairman of the Zoning Committee. This meeting is being streamed online via YouTube in accordance with all the applicable meeting statutes. Requirements for notice, access, and minutes are being met by electronic means. Tonight, I have a couple of orders of business for the committee to please mute your mics when you're not speaking. And if you're going to make a motion or a second, please state your name before you do that. The public hearing for the zoning petitions that we're hearing tonight has been held at a previous date in front of City Council and this zoning committee. This meeting is not a continuation of those hearings, so there will be no public input unless the committee has a specific question, in which case the committee will suspend the session and ask the petitioner directly. Tonight, we are in the fund-packed Action C14 room down here in the basement of the Government Center. So we've got a full house. And so everyone, I'll just ask you, if you have side conversations going on, please just keep them at a dull roar. That would be appreciated. We'll begin by introducing the committee, and I will go to my right and begin with Commissioner Lansdell.
Terry Lansdell, Planning Committee.
Clayton Seeley, Planning Committee.
Will Russell, Planning Committee.
Rebecca Wilden, Planning Committee. Shauna Neely, Planning Committee.
Thank you very much. We will begin with staff introductions all the way to my right again with Emma.
Emma Canarajas, Planning Staff.
Raquel Jones, Planning Staff.
Joe Mangum, Planning Staff.
Michael Russell, Planning Staff.
Max Oliver, Planning Staff.
Teresa Montalvo, Rezoning Manager.
Planning.
Thanks very much. And do we have folks online who would like to introduce themselves?
Holly Kramer, Planning Staff. Holly Kramer, Planning Staff.
Jake Carpenter, CDOT.
Isaiah Washington, CDOT.
Natalie King, CDOT.
Travis Miller, CDOT.
Drew Ritter, CDOT.
Chris Mano, CDOT.
Do we get everybody? All right. Before we get tonight's meeting started, I'm going to take a moment of good old personal privilege because I'm the chairman. I can do that every once in a while. I've been on the zoning committee here for the last 4 years. It's been a fun ride. And so I'd like to, because the Planning Commission, we rotate commissioners around, and I won't be around for the next month's meeting. But I'd like to thank a few folks and say nice things for at least a moment. Mr. Pettin, you're first. Thank you very much for hanging out with us for the last 4 years. You and your staff have done a wonderful job. Everybody on that team, I've said to them before, you're my favorite person. And I've meant that for at least 5 or 10 minutes after I've said it. So, yeah, take that. Take that and know that it's truly a wonderful experience to work with you. There are many petitioners, agents, and petitioners in the room today. Thank you very much for those conversations that we've had in the afternoon or in the morning or whenever, the times you got to see me drink Dr. Pepper at some coffee shop. Also, the residents of Charlotte, you guys have provided some fun and entertaining emails for me for the last 4 years. And many of you have your own special folder and will stay with me for a long time. That's a good thing about it. I always tell you that, you know, we are here to represent the citizen's voice and to hear that citizen's voice, to listen as well. So that's great. And to this committee, who I brag on all the time as being a bunch of rock stars, and it's as simple as that because you guys are. And I will talk about them each individually. There was a movie with Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger, and he said to her, "You had me at spreadsheets." And that is how I felt when Commissioner Wilden joined the zoning committee, because these folks they're incredibly prepared. And Commissioner Wilden showed up at our first meeting with spreadsheets, and it was magnificent. And that is all I have to say. Commissioner Lansdell, I encourage his passion, and he's got a lot of it, and he brings that full throttle. We do not get anything except for a full fire hose of Terry every time that we are here. And I appreciate that, and it's been a joy to work with him. Commissioner Seeley, the fact that you have used Acela and are not being paid to do so elevates you to a near godlike status in my book. It's as simple as that. Commissioner Russell, you know lots of stuff. And if this wasn't a meeting, I'd say different words and stuff, but you know what I mean. You're fantastic in that way. And Commissioner Neely, besides completing the incredibly powerful Seeley-Neely combo, the one thing I appreciate about you the most is the fact that people speak. And when people speak, you should improve the silence. You improve the silence. And I appreciate each and every one of you for that. So that's my personal privilege. Teresa, would you tell us about the deferrals that we may have this month?
Thank you. We have 3 petitions that have requested deferrals to the September 4th hearing. Those petitions are 2020-071 by 3G Investments and Developments, LLC. Petition 2024-024 by Orissa Holdings, LLC. And petition 2024-034 by Jackson Castle, LLC. That concludes the
We've heard that.
The 3 deferral requests as noted by staff.
Second, Wilden.
It's been moved by Commissioner Russell and seconded by Wilden. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Those 3 have been accepted and that motion passes, and we will get on to business, as they say, and we will get started with item number 4 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2023-124 by the Paces Foundation. And Joe, you get to start the show tonight.
Thank you. Petition 2023-124 is approximately 10.5 acres located on the east side of Dilling Farm Road, south of Moores Chapel Road. Current zoning is MX2. That's associated with a 2005 rezoning that also includes the NS and the single family to the east. Proposed zoning is N2B CD. The 2040 policy map recommends neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal is for up to 120 age-restricted multifamily stacked residential units, along with accessory uses allowed in the N2B zoning district. Would provide a 10-foot Class C buffer with fence along the western property line, where adjacent to N1 zoning and place type. Commits to transportation improvements, including dedication of 33.5 feet of right-of-way from the Dilling Farm Road center line, access from Dilling Farm Road by a private street, an 8-foot planting strip and 8-foot sidewalk that would go along Dilling Farm Road from the site's access point all the way to Moores Chapel Road. Would limit building heights of 48 feet and limit lighting to 21 feet except along public streets. Since the public hearing, the petitioner has revised the site plan to illustrate open space locations, as well as update the conditional notes to list possible open space amenities. Staff recommends approval of the petition. It is inconsistent with the policy map, but the site is already entitled for multifamily dwellings. Petition also would provide an additional housing option for seniors. And the site is within a 10-minute walk of neighborhood services, including a grocery store, pharmacy, dentist, doctor's office, and restaurants. Petition could facilitate the 2040 comprehensive plan goals of 10-minute neighborhoods, neighborhood diversity and inclusion, and housing access for all. The approval of this petition will revise the recommended place type from neighborhood 1 to neighborhood 2. I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Joe. Do we have any questions, comments from anyone? Commissioner Lansdale.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about how you guys have classified this as a 10-minute neighborhood, especially as we try to cross 485?
It's within less than a third of a mile from the shopping center, just to the east. The petition would with Billiken sidewalk from the petition site up Dillon Farm. Up Dillon Farm Road to Morris Chapel Road. So it would be less than a 10-minute walk to reach the neighborhood services of the shopping center. So that's why we would determine that it was a 10-minute neighborhood.
Yeah, it's really the thing that that set me apart on this petition is that we're talking about this reuse and redevelopment piece for changes into it's just in a very difficult place to talk about a 10-minute neighborhood, and I'm glad we didn't talk about safe and equitable transportation as part of a reason why we're supporting this petition. But it's causing me a little bit of heartburn about its location, proximity, and lack of ability to make that crossing on Morris Chapel across two exits of 45 and cross 45. So it's a good 10 minutes just to get from the two exit ramps across 45 as a walking piece on Morris Chapel. But thank you very much, staff, for the follow-up.
Does anyone else have any questions, comments on this particular petition? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of petition item number 4, petition 2023-124?
Wilden, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of 2023-124 as it appears before us.
It's been moved by Wilden and seconded by Neely. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I guess that passes unanimously. We'll go on to item number 5 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2023-152 by Sam's Commercial Properties, LLC. And Dave, are you Claire? You are Claire? Is this like a Star Trek episode where the thing that inhabits the body jumps from one person to the next? Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions, comments coming from Commissioner? Commissioner Lansdale.
Just a quick question for the public record here. This is in the Charlotte ETJ, or is this not in the ETJ? Thank you.
All right, got any other questions, comments? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 5 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2023-152?
Neely, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2023-152 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement.
Second, Seeley.
Thank God. The combo is alive and will stay alive for a while. The Neely-Seeley combo today has been moved by Commissioner Neely and seconded by Commissioner Seeley. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. We're on to item number 6 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2023-164 by Eden Acquisitions LLC. Joe, your party again.
2023-164 is approximately 23.42 acres located on the east side of South Tryon Street and west side of Steel Creek Road, north of Hamilton Road. Current zoning is split zoned with N1A on the eastern and western portions and IC1 in the middle. Proposed zoning is I2 or N2ACD. The 2040 policy map reflects the current zoning with N1, the eastern and western portions, and community activity center in the center. The proposal is for a community of up to 187 multifamily attached dwellings, along with accessory uses permitted in the N2ACD district. Proposal includes a mix of front-loaded and rear-loaded dwelling units. Building height is limited to 35 feet and building length to 165 feet. District is committing to a 20-foot Class B landscape yard with 6-foot privacy fence along the southern property boundary where adjacent to developed N1, and a 10-foot Class C landscape yard with 6-foot wooden fence along the western property boundary. District is committing to several transportation improvements, including access from South Tryon Street to Steel Creek Road, a network of public streets, private streets, with public access easements and alleys to access the units, a minimum 8-foot planting strip and 12-foot multi-use path along the site's South Tryon Street and Steel Creek Road frontages, an 8-foot planting strip and 6-foot sidewalk along the site's internal public and private streets, and a 5-foot natural surface trail along the northern boundary of the site. Since the public hearing, the petitioner has revised the site plan to include a tree survey and to clarify the tree save area. Petitioner also added the interim condition of the Steel Creek Road widening project to the site plan. Staff recommends approval. Petition is inconsistent with the policy map recommendation. However, the site is partially within a community activity center and is within a half mile of the core of the activity center at South Tryon Street and Steel Creek Road. The proposed multifamily attached dwellings would provide an appropriate transition from the single-family dwellings to the south of the site and the more intense non-residential uses to the northeast of the site. Petition commits to enhanced screening above ordinance requirements with a 20-foot Type B landscape yard with fence along the southern property boundary where adjacent to single-family dwellings. Petition also includes a new public street off South Tryon that would provide access to a future Mecklenburg County park adjacent to the site. Petition could facilitate the comprehensive plan goals of 10-minute neighborhoods, neighborhood diversity and inclusion, trail and transit-oriented development, safe and equitable mobility, and healthy, safe, and active communities. The approval of petition would revise the recommended place type from Neighborhood 1 and Community Activity Center place type to Neighborhood 2 place type. I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'll have a quick one. Can we back up and you tell me where the park is supposedly going to be, or is it a real park or is it a future park?
It's a future park. I don't think I have a pointer on here.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. So the park would be off of, I could be either this.
Oh, okay. Oh, so those are stubs. I guess with my eyes, I was thinking that was just a straight through there. Okay, but that's the only public road on this project, right? Okay.
Right, just to provide access to the park.
Okay. Anybody? Commissioner Seeley, you look like you have a question.
I kind of do through the lens of the conservation districts and how that applies to neighborhood. It's neighborhood 1 and 2. It's just one. Because like this private road scenario, because I see this actually as an opportunity to bridge a gap Sorry. I find it interesting that it's a private road because there is a lot of connectivity issues over there. And I know one of the things that was stressed by staff was maintenance of private roads, public roads, and how that works with conservation districts. So just wanting to point that out, I suppose.
Yeah, but my understanding of that, and someone on staff can correct me if I'm wrong, that's in one A or in one whatever.
In one A through F.
A through F.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're requesting an N2
Yeah.
on this particular one. So we aren't necessarily bound by that party. So yeah. Does anybody else have question, comment? You feel like you need any clarity? The petitioner is here if you want some clarity.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't have a formed thought on it. So
Okay. Well, we will wait for your thought to form another day. If I don't have any other discussion, do we have a motion for the disposition of item number 6 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2023-164?
Not hearing any movement to approve, I'm going to be making a motion for denial on this. So having reviewed the petition and consider the consistency statement prepared by staff, I move that we deny this petition number 2023164 as it was presented to us. I think that's all I have to say for right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do I have a second on that?
second, Seeley.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. It's been made by, properly made by Commissioner Lansdale and seconded by Commissioner Seeley. All those in favor of the denial of this petition, please say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor of the denial, please say nay. Nay. So that, that motion fails to pass 2-4. And so is there another motion that anyone wants to make on the floor?
Commissioner Russell, recommendation to approve, having reviewed the petition and considered consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition. I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2023-164 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
It's been properly moved by Russell and seconded by Neely. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion passes 4-2. Now, the nays,
Yes.
please express your name.
Absolutely. The staff should be used to this now because it's a script that I've been using for some months. This petition does not adequately address or compensate in its land use request to lessen congestion on roadways, state and local, and negatively impacts the general welfare of the community as it does not adequately improve transportation for its residents. Thank you.
It encapsulates my problem with it.
Okay. All right. Who was taking, Teresa, were you taking notes on that one? You good with what? All right. Cool. We will go on to item number 7 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2024-008 by Bank OZK. Max, would you take us through this one, please?
Yes, petition 2024-008 is located at the northeast intersection of South Boulevard and Starmount Cove Lane. The site's approximately 0.776 acres in size and is currently developed with a retail building. The current zoning is TOD-TR, Transit Oriented Development Transitional. Proposed zoning is CG-CD, General Commercial Conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the Community Activity Center. The CG-CD district is inconsistent with the CAC place type. Approval of this petition would revise the 2040 policy map to the commercial place type. The proposal calls for the development of a financial institution with an accessory drive-through. Following transportation improvements are proposed. Access to the site will be provided via a right-in, right-out driveway on South Boulevard and a full movement intersection on Starmount Cove. The petition will dedicate any required improvements prior to the first certificate of occupancy. Following site and streetscape improvements are proposed. The petitioner will construct an 8-foot sidewalk and 8-foot planting strip along the site's frontage with South Boulevard and Star Mountain Cove. Lighting will be full cutoff type and maximum height of 26 feet. Several outstanding issues, including the building should be oriented towards South Boulevard and Star Mountain Cove and push parking in the drive-through fully to the side and rear. Plan should meet all applicable prescribed conditions for accessory drive-throughs located in an activity center rather than a commercial place type to align better with the 2040 policy map. Plan should remove parking and maneuvering areas from between the building and the frontage. This would also allow a setback requirement to be reduced to CAC 1 standards. Remove the driveway access to South Boulevard, enhance pedestrian facilities, add architectural standards to the plan to comply with the TOD/TR zoning district and the community activity center place type. And CATS is requiring a new bus stop along the South Boulevard frontage. Several changes have been made since the public hearing in May. The petitioner has revised the plan to move the building closer to South Boulevard frontage, improving the plan as follows. Create a one-way circulation around the building, decreasing the distance from South Boulevard to the entrance. Place a speed hump at the entrance to the parking area to slow traffic where vehicles and pedestrians mix. Provide raised crosswalk across the drive aisle, increasing pedestrian visibility and decreasing vehicle speeds, improving access from the Star Mountain Cove frontage, and usable open space has been pushed to the rear of the site. Staff does not recommend approval of this petition. The petition is incompatible with the policy map recommendation for the Community Activity Center. Single-use commercial building with a drive-through is not appropriate within a quarter mile of the light rail station. 2019, the city undertook a proactive rezoning of more than 1,700 acres of land to the transit-oriented development zoning districts along the Blue Line corridor. This helps to help facilitate new development that contributes to the city's major investment in rail transit. The proposed project is auto-centric in nature and would actively detract from the transit investment. Financial institutions are permitted in the TOD/TR zoning district and could be built by right if they eliminate the drive-through. Happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Max. Couple of things. That I talked to the petitioner last week, and the last site plan you had up there was not the one that I had. Do we have the latest site plan? Because they had made some modifications to the parking area in the front, and also. No, that one's not it either.
If I can share my screen, I do have the latest plan pulled up. I'm not sure how that works.
Yes. Thanks, Natalie.
Yeah,
that would be
no problem.
awesome.
Yeah. And I'll come back to my next question. Commissioner Russell, have you got something you want to put in here?
Yep, I did. So I guess I understand staff's or I hear their rationale for not approving this, but I feel like the plan from the previous revision that was on the screen to the one that Natalie will hopefully show us is honestly a step backwards. I just don't know how comfortable I feel about having a public gathering space behind a bank and south of a gas station. It seems like to me that if you're going to have a public space, that it needs to be on the South Boulevard side for no other reason than there's a bus stop right at the gas station just north. And so if you get off the bus, there's a natural inclination to come down and sit and kind of recharge, especially in this heat. And I feel like that we're just creating a space to be creating it. So I just kind of want to understand what was the impetus for wanting to push the building closer to South Boulevard, when one, for the gathering space, and two, for the requirement that a bank has a drive-through ATM.
So first, to address the question about bringing the building forward, we would like to see it placed at the corner like the current building is. That allows pedestrians to access the building from both street frontages, and from a visual and design standpoint, both functionally for access to it for pedestrians from the bus stop, from walking up and down from the light rail that's less than a quarter mile away. They don't have to cross a parking lot. They don't have to have additional conflict with vehicles. As far as pushing the public space to the back, they could perhaps redesign the plan. Thanks, Natalie. They could perhaps redesign the plan to push the public space to the side of the building if they eliminated the frontage on, or the driveway on South Boulevard, as we're requesting. But there is the QT next door, and I think overall it's just along South Boulevard. It's a very busy street. It's probably an unpleasant place to spend time. And moving the public space to the back, it could be utilized by people that are going to QT to get lunch or take a break. I mean, I think a lot of people have lunch and things at the QT, but that's kind of just speculation on that end. You good?
I have another question here. This bank has, and I'm probably going to, I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm going to get the terminology wrong. They have like a community investment. And so the bank is therefore required to invest in the community that it's in. Was that a consideration that staff took into account when evaluating whether or not this petition was valid in this particular place?
Yes, and they've raised concerns about their site plan, saying that the parking has to be visible from the frontage for safety aspects. And we believe that if they move the building to the corner, they can actually place those parking spots to the side, which would be visible from the frontage, but not between the frontage and the bank. There's also Bank of the Ozarks has a couple other locations in the area. If you look at their location in Cornelius on Catawba, they are at at a corner like this, and they brought the building to the frontage and put the parking and drive-throughs in the side and rear. And also the location on Park Road brings the building is at a corner and brings the building to the frontage with the drive-throughs passing underneath the building. So that's a departure from this style, but they have accommodated this in other Charlotte area locations.
Is the drive-through a consideration that is a halting consideration in this particular case? And I ask that because, we've done this dance with banks and drive-throughs before. And what I wonder is, and I understand staff holding the line on this. Maybe I'm not there holding it with you, but the question is, should the staff be holding that line? Because the market is obviously giving us opportunities to have this discussion over and over again. And if they are, then maybe we should listen to the market a little bit.
Well,
I'm just raising the point.
I don't think the drive-through is 100% the issue. I think it's more the form of the site.
Okay.
We believe that they could accommodate the drive-through in a way that still aligns with the CAC place type, even if it doesn't meet the strict letter of the ordinance to develop under the CAC place type, that having had a drive-through prior to adoption of the UDO. As Bank of the Ozarks has done in a couple other Charlotte area locations, Fifth Third Bank near the Woodlawn Station accommodated drive-through and parking to the side and rear with bringing the building to the frontage. There's lots of examples. We're not basing this recommendation for denial solely on the fact that there's a drive-through. We believe it can be accommodated in a better way.
I will ask this question. I received correspondence from the petitioner today. Did everybody get that? Yeah. Is there ongoing discussion with the petitioner about form that you believe might be resolved, or are we at opposite ends of the spectrum? Or is there a time thing going on here?
So this is the most recent plan, and staff does believe it's been improved greatly. There's still a ways to go. They've shown that they're willing to work with us, but we're just asking that they accommodate the type of building and site design that we've seen in other locations. Chase Bank at Park Road and Woodlawn, the Fifth Third on Providence and Queens and Queens. I mean, there's a dozen examples that we could point to.
You got something to say?
No, I'm just triggered by all that.
I was triggered by the Chase Bank at Park Road. But that's
by every single one of them.
Yeah, well, that's another story. That's why we do this stuff. Where I'm getting to in this is that this is a part of town that's unbanked, basically. And this would provide a service to that area. And with the community investment thingamabob, which I cannot remember the technical term for, that particular part of town may benefit from this. And I tried to connect the the petitioner with some of the folks that are in the neighborhoods there to see if we could get some relations that are going there. If this is a design related issue, I'm wondering if we're better off kicking this down the road and coming back to visit it at a future time. You guys have to decide that. But I would just throw that out there.
I'm not going to be here.
But you can give someone else your spreadsheet.
No.
So, I mean, I hear what staff is saying. I see where the petitioner is. And I also believe I can see where the petitioner can go forward a little bit. And I'm raising the question about staff, about, the more existential question about drive-throughs around TOD. But we're not going to solve that one here tonight. We're going to come to a resolution about this petition before we go on to the next item. So in the next couple minutes, where are we going to come to in terms of a resolution is the question. So anyone else want to discuss and stop me from just blathering on?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Commissioner Lansdale, go ahead.
I agree with staff, and really it is around the premise of drive-through. And I appreciate that the design of the building is a consideration for the position. I do want to say that as far as petitioners and petitioner agents goes, while it's a little bit of lipstick on a pig for this one, we do appreciate the petitioner paying attention to active mobility along this corridor, along this site, and within this site, as it has been changed and presented. So it's a difficult position for me, and if there's a motion to defer, I would support that.
Thank you, Commissioner Lansdale. I can see brain power being used up here. So you guys ponder, and let's get ourselves to a place where we can move forward here.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission.
Who's that?
Anthony Fox. I'm the agent for the petitioner here.
Mr. Fox, can you hold on a second? If you'd like to speak, we're going to have to suspend the session, and I think it probably needs to be our idea to do that. So if you will hold on just a second.
Motion to suspend the rules to allow questions to the petitioner.
All right, and remember, we have to have a specific question. I've got a motion on the floor here to suspend the rules and hear from the petitioner. Do I have a second on that? Second. It's been moved by Russell, seconded by Neely. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Aye. Anybody else? Any more ayes in there? We got enough ayes.
Yeah,
all right. Now, before we go further, what's the question that we want to ask?
What other information would Mr. Fox like to present to us regarding this position? I love that. That's brilliant. Mr. Fox, is there any additional information related to this petition and the form of the building that you would like to present to us? I hope you're still there.
He's on mute.
Yes, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
We've had a number of discussions with staff on design, and we've presented a number of iterations with regards to design. It's the first time we've heard about other products of the bank in the area and the desire for them to be similar in design to some of those layouts. It's been our position and understanding that a lot of the discussion around staff was the appropriateness of a drive-through in this place type. And therefore, we've been reiterating the Community Reinvestment Act and its obligation for us to provide equitable facilities throughout our footprint. But we certainly will entertain some other design considerations. I believe Mr. Tim Peters may be there. I'm not sure if he made it. He was coming out of a hurricane-laden area. But if there's a desire to defer, I would pursue that opportunity to see if there's and exhaust any other design considerations, because heretofore we had not heard the concerns with regards to other similar products of the bank in the market.
All right, thank you very much, sir, and Holly, I'm going to reiterate the question that we were asking Mr. Fox was there anything additionally that he wanted to provide us in relation to the design elements of this building? So that was the question that he was asked. We will return to our normal session now. Folks here at the table with me, are we moving in a direction to get a disposition for this particular
Yes.
item?
Yes. Commissioner Russell to defer, having reviewed the petition and consider the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition. I move that we defer petition 2024-008 as it appears before us.
Do we have to do that deferral to a specific date? All right, that will be deferred till September 4th.
Yes.
Do I hear a second on that motion? It's been moved by Russell and seconded by Neely. All those in favor of the deferral of this particular petition until September 4th, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This petition is deferred. Thank you very much. And we will go on to our next part of the party. We're up to item number 8 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2022-011 by Eastwood Homes. Michael, lovely to have you here today. Would you please give forth and explain?
Certainly. So this is 2024-011. It's approximately 17.48 acres located along the south side of Johnson Naylor Road, east of Prosperity Ridge Road. The current zoning is neighborhood 1A. The proposed rezoning is neighborhood 2A conditional. You can see the adopted place type there is neighborhood 1. And the proposal allows up to 114 multifamily attached dwelling units, provides an 8-foot wide planting strip and an 8-foot wide sidewalk along the site's frontage. It improves Johnson Naylor Road along the site boundary to a 2+ avenue roadway with bike lane and a 2.5-foot standard curb and gutter. Provides primary access via Johnson Naylor Road with a right-in, right-out intersection. It expands the street network connectivity to the adjacent development with connections to Ragsdale Drive and Tournament Drive, and providing an 8-foot wide sidewalk along internal public streets and limit the building lengths to 150 feet. And they do provide architectural standards. Some of the changes since the public hearing, they reduced the unit count by 1 to 114, and they do provide a commitment to provide a private children's playground area with benches and seating. This petition is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for neighborhood 1 place type, but it is within a quarter-mile walk shed of community activity center and a campus place type. It's also located on the CATS bus route 53X. The site's adjacent to the campus place type to the east and the community activity center place type to the west. The proposed zone and place types provide an appropriate transition to the abutting uses. Access to housing is the highest priority need in this area, according to the EGF community reports. And the petition seeks to address the housing need with an allowance of up to 114 new residential units. And the site continues a similar development pattern with the adjacent community to the west that provides the street connectivity. They provide the pedestrian and bike accommodations along the frontage. And it's located just west of Mallard Creek High and the Corvian schools. So this petition could facilitate the comprehensive plan goals with a 10-minute neighborhood and neighborhood diversity and inclusion. And staff does recommend approval of this petition.
Thank you very much, Michael. Do we have any comments from the commission? Commissioner Russell and then Commissioner Wilden.
Thank you. I just want to speak on this one for a little bit because it is in my backyard. And I had some conversations with the developer and the representative on the site. And one of the things that, or two of the things that we asked for is to provide connectivity, because we know that staff is very big on making sure that that areas are connected. We hear all the time from City Council that they're looking for ways to reduce the impact of cost to homeowners as well as reduce the cost of infrastructure. With that in mind, we requested a public seating area on Johnson Ayler Road and a dedicated path. If you go back to the map, please. One more. There we go. So there, the BMP pond to the very bottom, you see there's a second BMP just to the left of that, and then just directly south is a 3-acre park that was dedicated by the previous developer that my organization helped to get dedicated. So we got a 3-acre park dedicated, and we are less than 100 feet from said park. After discussions, I was essentially told that what we were asking for would essentially cost too much and be a maintenance issue, and that it would pass undue cost on to the homeowners. I was then made aware that the developer had since then wrote a letter and made a commitment to add the playground, which is adding cost and adding maintenance, which I think is even more than what we had asked for. And then I was told that the path would be just a mulch path, which is not ADA accessible. Needless to say, I was disappointed that a side deal was cut with a group of individuals that do not live in our area, nor do they represent the interests of the people who live there. And so this also goes in the face of the connectivity that we've worked to build and the pedestrian connectivity we've worked to build in Prosperity Village. The city spent $30 million improving the pedestrian streetscape along 485 at the exit. And we've seen an increase in the number of walkers. In fact, we've had a business pop up on Craven Thomas Road and has been providing some wonderful treats to our neighbors. And we think that's a good thing. We think that that is happening because there's a marked increase in pedestrian traffic. To zoom in even closer, directly across the street from this site is the 40-acre development that was done previously. One of the things that we noted is because that site, Johnson Ayler Road, is right next to Corbian, and then you can see over to the right is Mallard Creek High School. We noticed for about 3 years that we had a number of cars back up from Mallard Creek High School all the way back to the 485 on-ramp. And noticing that we asked for the developer of the parcel across the street to include a wider sidewalk, some benches, and then a crosswalk directly to the front door of Mallard Creek High School. And they agreed to do that. And since then, we've seen traffic completely decrease. We've had an increase in the number of kids walking and biking from their neighborhoods to both Corbian and Mallard Creek High School. And we've seen incidents of pedestrian conflicts with cars also reduce, because we are paying attention to the area in which we live. This area is 0.6 of a mile from the first public park done by the city of Charlotte in over 40 years in the green. It's about a 10 to 15 minute walk, and there's also a movie theater about a 10 to 15 minute walk. For the playground, I don't understand why that's necessary, considering that we're gonna have a park not 100 feet to the south, that there's going to be 0.9 of a mile the other way is Mallard Creek Regional Park, which has 2 playgrounds. And then the playground will be directly in front of Corbian's elementary school, which is going just south of the cul-de-sac arm that you see right above Tree Save area. So not only are we going to pass on the cost of playground equipment to homeowners, but now the liability as well, as kids come out of school and will play on it, and who's going to check it. Now, lest you think that I am a NIMBY and I'm looking to somehow prevent development, that would be incorrect. Since 2016, the Prosperity Village area has received over 3,000 apartments. And as a result of that, we have negotiated almost 5 full acres of park and green space that otherwise would not exist. This is not an issue about NIMBYism. It is an issue about connectivity, infrastructure, and cost. We have a culture in Prosperity Village of having our neighborhoods connected, of having people walk, run, and bike, and generally enjoy that area. And I think that's borne out by the fact that our zip code is #1 in Charlotte home market for home buyers. So with that, I think that it is distressing that an organization that has worked for almost a decade to improve development in the area was rebuffed and was told that we would not be adding what we had asked for, but yet a side deal would be cut with another organization that does not represent our area. And because of that cost and that lack of care and attention to detail to our area, I will be voting no to this petition. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilden. We will wait for your beautiful voice to come.
I just think he was going to talk for a while, so
Yeah,
I was like,
that's okay.
No one is on here from CMS, correct? I didn't hear.
Mm,
I didn't. Okay. I've been emailing CMS a few times and haven't heard anything back because I'm trying to figure out what the calculation is for students. Because I'm sure they've told us, but it still makes no sense to me. They said for this, is it 114 or 150?
114.
114, 20 students added to the CMS schools. And then for another one we have tonight that's like 200 plus units, they said 6 students. So I don't know where they're pulling these numbers out of. And I've been emailing them.
Thank you very much. Anybody else got any? I have a question. At the public hearing, there was some discussion between the petitioner's agent and a group that was making comments about restricting this housing ownership. Was that carried forward in any shape, form, or fashion?
No.
No. So there's nothing in the notes, and I just scanned the notes real quick, but I didn't see anything. I just wondered what had happened to that particular notion. Okay.
I would say that I talked to the petitioner's agent today, and that they would be willing to make some concessions with the connectivity to the park. And the agent or representative from Eastwood Homes is here if you would like more information, just putting that out there.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Russell, would you like to speak with the agent from the petitioner on that regard?
On the issue of fairness?
Yeah. Do I hear a motion for us to suspend the rules and hear from the petitioner's agent in regards to additional connectivity being done on this project? Is there a motion? Anybody? Suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules. Wilden.
Second, Seeley.
It's been moved by Wilden, seconded by Seeley. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. Who are we talking with? Yeah. And what's your name, please, sir?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Joe Lesh. I'm with Eastwood Homes.
Hi, Joe. Glad to have you here. The question that is on the table is, are there any additional modifications that you are willing to make to this particular project to meet up with the connectivity requests from the Prosperity Village Homeowners Group, Area Association Group, thingamabob?
Thank you. Yes, sir. And I thought that we had communicated that with Mr. Russell. We've agreed to 2 of the things that they've asked for, and I'll talk about the third one as well, because maybe there was some misunderstanding. I think one was a connection to basically the southernmost cul-de-sac that you see on our property there near the BNP trail that would go to the other BNP on the other property. We have agreed that we would build a trail there as well for that connectivity to the park that's south of that BNP. We were asked about some seating along Josinola Road near our BNP up near Josinola that you see on the northern side of the property. We have agreed to do that as well. We're going to work with CDOT to try to do that within the right of way if possible. If not, we will put it on our property as well. The third thing that I thought that I had remembered that Mr. Russell asked us and the vice chair of that association was to put a playground in this area that would be accessible to people who didn't live there. That we didn't feel like we could agree to do because of liability and maintenance and so forth. The other group that we had met with Councilmember Johnson was the Council District 4 Community Coalition. They had asked us to put limits on rentals of the property. We agreed to do what we could there in our HOA documents. They asked us also to include a internal playground for the residents of the property. We've agreed to do that. So as far as I can tell, we've agreed to do everything we've been asked to do. The project itself has been supported as far as it's consistent with plans. It's consistent with the area. And if there's any other questions, I'll be happy to try to answer.
I do have a question. Can you expound upon the seating area that you were going to provide, that you're working with CDOT on along Johnson Naylor? You dedicate with.
We provide 2 benches along Johnson Naylor Road. We're also going to provide a bench at the end of the path that's near our BNP, the path that reaches over to the park. But that's what we've been talking about. And that's what we've committed to do.
Thank you very much. And we will bring this one back into session. And are there any other questions, comments anybody has? Commissioner Lansdale.
I'm not sure how effective the argument about approving developments that rely on private alleys and private streets to occur, but can someone confirm to me that this is all a private street network? Staff?
Yeah, these are 2 public streets where Tournament and Ragsdale come in, and then the main one. And I'm sure CDOT's available to expound on that.
Thank you for making that for the record. My initial response to this was really associated with the problems along Johnson Naylor Road and the setbacks for the right of way. And we'd like to see the developer do more and make sure that they expand the right of way and the setbacks along Johnson Naylor. Even though that we have an adjacent property that may or may not have had a good design when it was approved and built, we want to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes twice. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Michael, just to clarify for me, the only alley on this particular project is the one that is at the very top between the 2 rows of units, correct? Top left? Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Do I hear a motion for the disposition of this petition, item number, whatever it is? Are we up 7 or 8?
Number 8.
Item number 8, petition 2024-011.
Commissioner Russell, recommendation to deny, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to deny this petition. I move that we recommend denial of petition 2024-011 as it appears before us, and adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Is there a second?
Second, Seeley.
It's been moved and by Commissioner Russell and seconded by Commissioner Seeley. All those in favor of the denial, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That petition is denied 6-0. All right, we're on to item number 9 on our agenda.
We need details.
We need to have a statement about why.
Yep.
The consistency for the statement.
All right. So the issues are the lack of true pedestrian connectivity. It does not fit the character of the area, and then the concerns with traffic along Johnson Naylor and access to the site to Johnson Naylor.
Got that? All right, item number 9 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2024-013. Emma, would you take us through this one, please?
2024-013 is approximately 0.24 acres located on the west side of Park Road, south of Seneca Place, and north of Cortland Road. The current zoning is office. The proposed zoning is CAC 1, Community Activity Center 1. The 2040 policy map recommends the Community Activity Center place type for this site. This site is a conventional petition. Staff does recommend approval for the petition, and we cannot shake this petition off because it is consistent with the 2040 policy map.
Are you done already?
No, I have many more.
Thank you.
I will take any questions zoning committee might have.
Thank you very much. I'm going to miss you so much for at least 5 minutes after this meeting is over. Do I have any questions? Do I have any comments from the commission? Committee members, we got anything to say here? I have a question to ask. This is going to be a CAC 1, and what's all the stuff around it going to remain as? I mean, the rest of there are a bunch of single houses on there, and are they all office? Or
Give me 1 second just to take.
okay. So this is just one parcel in amongst, because there are like 6 buildings in a row there. Okay. All right. That was my question. So does anybody else have any comments? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 9 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2022-013?
Motion to approve Sealy. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-013 as it appears for us, and the adoption of the consistency statement right up there.
Boom shakalaka boom. We have the Sealy Neely combo. It's very associative. It's been moved by Commissioner Sealy, seconded by Commissioner Neely. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes 6-0. On to item number 10 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2024-022 by QTR Development Partners and Sunset Road Partners, LLC. Michael, would you take us through this one, please? Max, would you take us through this?
Mighty man. Sorry about
Did you guys like swap these or something? Is this a typo?
Sometimes we just like the other person's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
The bodies have changed. That's it.
Friday. Petition 2024-022 is located on the south side of Sunset Road, east of Oakdale Road. Site's approximately 12.11 acres in size and currently developed with 2 single-family homes. Current zoning is N1A, Neighborhood 1. Proposed zoning is N2A CD, Neighborhood 2 conditional. 2040 policy map recommends the Neighborhood 1 place type for this site. The N2A district is inconsistent with the N1 place type. Approval of this petition would revise the 2040 policy map recommendation to the Neighborhood 2 place type. Proposal calls for 110 multi-family attached dwellings and 4 duplex lots for a maximum of 118 dwelling units. The buildings are limited to no more than 5 units, the maximum 24 buildings to be developed on site. Site's internal tree plantings will include a minimum 40 trees planted along the proposed alleyway network at a minimum spacing of 40 feet on center. Following transportation improvements have been proposed. Vehicular access to the site is proposed from Sunset Road via New Public Street, which is an extension of McCullough Meadows Drive. There is also a proposed substreet that extends to the western portions of the property. Turn lane with 150 feet of storage is provided along Sunset Road at the intersection with the New Public Street on the site. 12-foot multi-use path and 8-foot playing strip will be installed along the site's frontage with Sunset Road. Following architectural requirements are proposed. Windows, doors, porches are required on all front-facing facades to avoid the appearance of blank walls. Blank walls are limited to no more than 20 feet when abutting Sunset Road and McCullough Meadows Drive or internal network streets. in units will have facades with a minimum transparency of 25% at the ground level and 15% on upper floors. Buildings will incorporate articulated facades and architectural features such as balconies and bay windows. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon resolution of outstanding issues related to transportation and environment. Petitioner is actively working to address these issues, as the proposed development would fill a need for housing in the area that has been identified by the 2040 Conference Plan as lacking opportunities for access to housing. Site's located within a half-mile of a designated neighborhood center, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Max. On the stormwater thing, are those issues, there were like issues 3 and 4 down at the bottom of the the staff report? Are those taken care of already, or?
So those were advisory comments by Stormwater, and they've been just moved to technical revisions, which is just we don't consider that an outstanding issue.
Okay.
Just rather reminding the petitioner that those things need to be addressed during permitting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I was just a little confused there. Anyone? Commissioner Russell.
Yep. I got a question that may steal a little bit of Terry's thunder, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Are these private alleys that are internal to the site?
Yes. So if we go back to the site plan, you'll see it's a little difficult to see, but the red arrow right there at Sunset Road, and at the bottom, that's a new public street, and so is the public street along with the open space. Sorry, I don't have a pointer in front of the open space with those 4 residential lots. Those are public streets, and every internal street is a private alley, which the petitioner has provided street trees, sidewalks along those.
And then is the road where the 4 big blocks at the bottom, and there's a road that bisects that, and the ones above it, is that also public, or is that?
That's a public street, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Did I hear you say that they were going to put trees on their private alleys?
Yes, they have agreed to plant 40 trees at 40 foot on center.
Okay.
I believe.
That's great. And this is just a question for, am I noticing a lot of N2s that are coming through here, or is it just me?
If it's just you, I'm with you.
Okay. Thank you, Max. That confused me beyond all compare. Do we have any other questions from commissioners?
Yeah.
Commissioner Lansdale.
I'd like to say one good thing about this parcel. It's a petition in that it provides a sidewalk along Sunset Road, which is important. Other than that, I really can't support any transportation solutions presented here, especially in dealing with private roads and alleys. The lack of sidewalks for over half the units that are located outside of the Cause Park amenity. The notion that this is a usable open space based upon our previous UDO considerations, the gradient for that area makes it really challenging for people to access, it appears. So I'm going to have a hard time supporting this one.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? And Max, just one question. Those along the major north-south road, there are 2 stubs to the right of the map, and I suppose those are for future connectivity?
There is. So there's a development actively being constructed to plan east for the south. And there's one large parcel in between. So if this parcel comes in, then they'll connect that development to this development via those stubs.
Okay. Yeah, that's because when I looked at that, I was like, hey, those people are going to be between those 2 things. Oh, yeah. Okay. Do we have any other comments, questions? Otherwise, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item 10 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2024-022?
Having reviewed the Wilden, motion to approve. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of, that is so many words, petition number 2024-002 as it appears before us. 022. 2024-022.
Do I hear a second?
Second, Seeley.
It's been moved by Wilden and seconded by Seeley. All those in favor of this petition, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
That passes 5-1. Commissioner Lansdale, would you render forth your?
This petition does not adequately address or compensate in this land use request to lessen congestion on roadways, state or local, negatively impacts the general welfare of the community as it does not adequately improve transportation and access.
You good with that, Max?
Yep.
All righty. We're on to petition number, or item number 11, rezoning petition 2022-029 by Embry Development Company. And this is a point where you need to get yourself some water or soda or whatever, some tea. Get some tea. Otherwise, we're going to listen to Michael.
Yes, this is 2024-029. It's approximately 19.81 acres located on the south side of Alexandriana Road, east of Statesville Road, and west of Twin Lakes Parkway, north of Interstate 485. Let's see there, the larger context is zoomed out. So the existing or current zoning is Office Flex Campus, OFC. The proposed zoning is Innovation Mixed Use Conditional. The adopted place type, the 2040 policy map calls for manufacturing and logistics here. So this particular proposal is to allow up to 300 multifamily stacked dwelling units. They are providing access to the site via Twin Lakes Parkway. They're dedicating 50 feet of right-of-way from the Alexandriana and Statesville Road center lines and 31.5 feet of right-of-way from the Twin Lakes Parkway center line. They're providing an 8-foot planting strip and a 12-foot multi-use path along Alexandriana Road and Statesville Road. And they're providing an 8-foot planting strip, an 8-foot sidewalk along Twin Lakes Parkway. And they provide an 8-foot sidewalk extension from the site along Alexandriana Road to North Lake Auto Plaza Boulevard within the existing right-of-way if the right-of-way is available. They do provide a bus pad along Alexandriana Road and Statesville Road. Some of the changes since the public hearing, they've reduced the unit count from 350 to 300. They are dedicating up to 5 acres of open space, inclusive of the site's required tree save, and up to 2.5 acre conservation easement to Mecklenburg County Park and Rec. They're going to provide a workforce housing program to ensure that no fewer than 10% of the total number of units developed on the site for a period of not less than 10 years maintain monthly rents that are income restricted for households earning 80% or less of the AMI. So with that, staff does not recommend approval of the petition. It's inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for manufacturing and logistics. So the proposed place type is characterized by adaptively reused buildings and low to mid-rise single-use structures that are transitioning to vertically integrated uses in pedestrian-oriented environment. This property is currently vacant and the pedestrian-oriented environment is currently deficient. For consideration of IMU, a mix of uses should be present either on-site or within walking distance with a sound pedestrian network. The Innovation Mixed-Use Zoning District is intended to accommodate those areas that have typically developed as industrial areas but are transitioning from an exclusively industrial orientation to a broader mix of lighter industrial, artisanal industrial, commercial, and moderate density residential uses with a more walkable environment. And so the proposed use consisting of 300 multi-stacked units is inconsistent with the intent of the IMU zoning district. And although multifamily is an allowable use with the IMU place type, the intent behind establishing IMU for the adaptive reuse and further advancement of employment uses in aging manufacturing areas to take precedent, and residential should be an ancillary and supportive use. And so the subject property is not well served by adjacencies and lacks access to supportive uses for potential residents. The surrounding uses are characterized by manufacturing, warehouse buildings, auto sales and repair with limited restaurants, retail, and personal services. Many parcels in the vicinity were recently rezoned to accommodate manufacturing and logistics type uses. And sort of access to essential amenity. Sorry, I lost my place there. So the subject property is in an area determined to have high priority need for better access to employment opportunities. And the petition proposes residential land use, but does not promote additional access to employment opportunities. The site is served by 2 CATS bus routes, and the site is located near elementary, middle, and high school. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Michael. I'll go first on this one, just as a point. You talked about the intent of IMU and et cetera, but when I look at the purpose of IMU and the UDO, none of that stuff is in there. And so, for me, I was like, what you gave is a brilliant description of. I just wish it was actually on the paper in front of me here. And so my question boils down to, if someone came to an IMU district and they wanted to do all artisan industrial development in that district, would that be any different than doing all residential in that district?
I think one of the things is for the adaptive reuse. There are old industrial buildings already present, to rehab them and reuse them. I think, right, the idea is to kind of have a mix of uses, but I think it would also, depend on exactly what they were going to do. How many acres are we talking? Those would be other factors to consider in, but with this petition, it's 19 some acres, all residential.
Yeah, again, I'm just looking at these 5 lines here, and I'm not quite square in the circle with you on that one. But we'll come back around to that. Anybody else on the commission have a comment? Commissioner Russell.
Yeah, just a general question.
I just want to say that, yeah, that sort of language was taken straight from the UDO.
Okay. Here, so I may need to.
Did you think I just pulled that out of my head?
No.
We know you're good.
You're incredibly smart, but I just, I had gone and grabbed the UDO when I was having some previous discussions about this, and it was like, okay, here are these 5 sentences, and it very clearly kind of states what the purpose is, and I will take your word for it that somewhere deeper down.
Article 9.
Article 9? Okay, I will go look. Wait a minute. Let's see. Article 9. Yeah, that's where I was. I just was on the top of the page. So, all right. Commissioner Russell.
Yes. Just a question. Can we go back to kind of the area map? That's good. Right. Zoom out. Go back one. Okay, that one. That's perfect. So understanding that this site is essentially ETJ, but it's essentially not. And it inhabits a hinterland between Charlotte and Huntersville, yeah. So looking at the way Huntersville is developing this area, they're looking to make this more of what we consider a community, a CAC kind of development, where you like that, huh?
No, everybody says CAC.
Oh,
No one says CAC.
And I was like, no, we're dog people.
I tried to be smart and say it all out, and I just screwed it up, so I'll let it go.
We'll pretend you're Japanese.
Thank you. So I wonder, have there been any conversations with Huntersville and Huntersville planning to kind of square the need for a community center on their side and the need for industrial on our side? Just a general question.
I have reached out to Huntersville, but I have not been able to connect with them. I do know that area is kind of identified as a mixed use area, but that's as far as I have.
Here's the part where I come in and I say, Well, you know, people, we have this whole jurisdictional area that we're supposed to play. It's our sandbox. And yes, there's context of things that are happening outside of our sandbox. Comma, we cannot make decisions based on stuff that happens outside of our sandbox. But it's context, and that is that. So that's my disclaimer.
Context is king.
So anyway, anybody else have a question, comment? Is that Commissioner Lansdale?
It is.
Go for it.
I appreciate staff's detailed presentation for the reason for denial. Again, it's an important part of the conversation that I wish staff would really continue on this line and talk about the impacts and inabilities of petition approvals such as this to align with the UDO and its philosophies, as well as the specific land use in that area. So I'm going to be supporting staff's position to deny this with an emotion at the appropriate time.
Do we got anybody else? Commissioner Wilden.
Yeah, I love workforce housing. I love income restricted housing. I think that it should be way more places. Just even yeah. And I'm happy to connect whoever wants to talk with Huntersville. I know the mayor really well. I know quite a few council members pretty well. Happy to connect. I can give you phone numbers. They're great at texting. So yeah, I really like this. So
I will piggyback on that. Michael, it said, what was the provision about workforce housing? Was it no less than 10 years? I think we see that described in other ways sometimes.
Yeah, so workforce housing program to ensure that no fewer than 10% of total number of units developed on the site for a period of not less than 10 years, maintain monthly rents that are income restricted for households of 8% or less in the area of median income.
So in essence, they're saying for at least 10 years, the affordability party will be at this address.
Right. Correct.
Okay. I will ask another question. I will put out there, during the public hearing, there was some discussion about this particular parcel being basically kind of sliced off because 485 had kind of bisected this industrial property that had been rezoned 1990 something, right? Becca was a baby when this was redone. Were you even a baby then?
I was in the 90s.
You were in the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy about that. Anyway, but there was a discussion of the fact that this property had been marketed for basically, I guess, 20 years or something. Was that what we heard? And had not gone in the direction I think staff is wanting it to go in, to be something industrial, something. Is that a consideration for us to discuss at this moment if anybody wants to? I just bring these things up. I don't necessarily have an answer here. No?
Yeah, I think you raised an interesting point about the fact that the original site, which was part of the Twin Lakes business park to the south, when it got bisected, so this piece essentially became an orphan. And then the development or lack thereof over at least the last 10 years that 485 has been there, I think has clued us into that maybe the market is not valuing that piece as manufacturing and logistics, especially because, you think there's a lot of Amazon warehouses and a lot of need for truck parking and manufacturing development. And this seems like it would be a perfect spot for that with this proximity to 485 and 77. But interestingly enough, it still has not gotten any nibbles. So I guess I'm a little on the fence about whether the place type and use that we're projecting for that area is really going to manifest itself.
Okay. I mean, when you look, got something? Okay. When you look at the rezone, I was just going down to look at the rezonings that we've had in this area. We've got multifamily across 77. We've got industrial which is down the road a bit on Alexandriana. And we've got some manufacturing logistics immediately next door. We've got car people, lots of car dealerships all around. But again, one of the things that I often say, and it's a policy thing that we can make decisions on, is the need for housing. And this drops 300 houses or residences in our lap. Across from a school, which is a Mecklenburg County thing, so we don't have to talk about it as being a Huntersville thing. But there are multiple schools, right? North Mech is right across the street. Whatever those, it's the whole cluster of.
North Academy of World Languages.
Okay, so that again is housing can be a motivator. It's a policy issue for us to consider. So I'm just putting these things into the discussion. I'm not arguing one way or another for them, but you guys, we're going to have to get to a place where we're going to make a decision about this in a moment. Anybody else got anything else they want to add? If you don't stop me, I'll just ramble on. Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 11 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2024-029?
Lansdale, I'm going to read the denial portion in accordance to the staff's recommendation. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to deny this petition, I move we recommend the denial of petition number 2024-029 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
It's been moved by Lansdale. Do I hear a second? Not hearing a second. That motion does not get onto the floor.
Motion to approve Seeley. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-029 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it also appears before us.
Second, Wilden.
It's been moved by.
Wait.
And adopt our consistency statement and we do
Yeah.
that.
And the adoption of a new consistency statement created by us fine people.
Okay.
Second, Wilden.
It's been moved by Seeley and seconded by Wilden. All those in favor of this motion, which we will craft a consistency statement for momentarily, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, so we go 5-1, and we will need to construct a consistency statement. You got anything coming out of you right now besides housing?
Oh, besides housing?
I was going to say housing.
Yeah. No, I think this plan, as Will was saying, we've had this industrial manufacturing and logistics kind of zoning for a long time. The market has not met that. Part of it could be because of the school right across the street. But I think this body, most of us, sees this as an opportunity for housing in an area that is fairly connected to educational opportunities as well as some retail opportunities.
Is that good? You make something out of that? Housing. All righty. Let's continue our quest forward. Item number 12 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2024-030 by the Sonic Park LLC. And Max, are you really?
Yes, it's actually me this time, I swear. Petition 2024-030 is located at the northwest intersection of South Sharon Amity Road, Randolph Road, south of Woodlark Lane. The site's approximately 0.39 acres and is currently developed with a surface parking lot. The site is a portion of property zone CC, Commercial Center Conditional. The proposed zoning is NC Neighborhood Center, a conventional district. 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood center place type. The NC zoning district is consistent with the NC place type. This is a conventional rezoning petition. There's not an associated site plan and would permit any use allowed in the NC zoning district. Staff recommends approval of this petition as the NC district provides permits a variety of uses that are in keeping with the character of the area, which is a diversifying from auto-centric mid-century suburban development pattern to a more mixed-use area with office, retail, restaurant, and residential development. The NC district will utilize UDO standards that are more human scale and pedestrian oriented than the existing legacy zoning on the site. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Max, if that really is you. Do we hear any comments or questions from the commission?
Motion at the appropriate time.
What was that, too?
Motion at the appropriate time.
Could I hear a motion for the disposition of this petition?
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend the approval of petition number 2024030 as it appears before us and adopt the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Neely, second.
It's been motioned by Lansdale, seconded by Neely. All those in favor, please. (24-032) by Troy Knight. Michael, will you take us through this one yet again?
This is 2024-032. This is approximately 0.17 acres located on the west side of Montgomery Street, north of Fraser Avenue, and east of West Trade Street.
Although I understand why they're doing it, but
the current zoning is NC Neighborhood Center. The proposed zoning is Neighborhood 2B. The adopted place type from the 2040 policy map calls for the neighborhood center here. This is a conventional rezoning, so there's no site plan. So we feel that the staff does recommend approval of this petition. This petition is appropriate, compatible with the surrounding uses and context of the area. Access to housing is a high priority need in this area, according to the Equitable Growth Framework community reports. This petition could help address some housing need here. And the site is within a half-mile walk shed to the Lynx goal line stop, and it's within a half-mile walk shed of the Irwin Creek Greenway. And the neighborhood center place type is a preferred adjacency for this site. So staff does recommend approval. We'd like to take any questions.
thank you very much, Michael. Do we have any questions or comments from anyone on this particular petition? Hearing none, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 13, rezoning petition 2024-032?
Lansdale, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move we recommend the approval of petition number 2024-032 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Commissioner Russell, second.
It's been moved by Lansdale, seconded by Russell. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 6-0. We're on to item number 14 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2024-036 by Julio Barrica. Please, my apologies if I didn't quite get the name correct. Joe Mangum, would you please take us through this one?
Thank you. Petition 2024-036 is just shy of a quarter acre located on the west side of Westerly Hills Drive, north of Wilkinson Boulevard and south of Blessing Street.
Joe?
Holly can't see the presentation, so I'm just going to fix it real quickly. I don't know why.
Okay.
You could just give me 1 second. Sorry, Holly just said that our live of the presentation is part out.
This is the part where we vamp. And does anybody want to do a dance or anything? Dave?
Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we have some kind of Taylor Swift? I remember when she did that movie. It was the Purple Rain movie. And she was magnificent in that movie.
Oh boy.
Taylor Swift in the Purple Rain movie. It was excellent. This is before your time because you were born in the 90s. She could have been in Deliverance. I just.
Boy.
Did you hear she's going to be a superhero in Deadpool?
What? Let's go.
Anyway, we're back on.
We're on. See, thank God we didn't waste any more time than that. All right. Are you ready to go now, Joe?
I'm ready.
Give it to us full gas.
2024-036, approximately a quarter acre, located on the west side of Westerly Hills Drive, north of Wilkinson Boulevard and south of Blessing Street. Current zoning is split zoned N1D to the north, CG to the south. Proposed zoning is NC-CD. Policy map recommends neighborhood 1 place type. The proposal is just this very simple list of additional notes, which limit use to office and accessory uses and building height to 40 feet. Staff recommends approval, inconsistent with the N1 place type recommendation, but the proposed NC zoning district would provide an appropriate transition from the N1 to the north and west and the community activity center to the south and east. The development standards limit the use to office and accessory uses, and office use would be an appropriate transitional use between the residential to the north and commercial to the south. The petition limits building height to 40 feet, which matches the maximum building height of the N1B zone parcels to the north and west of the site. The site's within a quarter mile of existing bus stops along Wilkinson Boulevard and approximately a half mile from a future Cat Silver Line station. And I will take any questions from there.
Thank you very much, Joe. Quick question. The blue that was around that is Community Activity Center?
Yes.
And we're going to go to NC here. Is there a reason why we're not going all the way to Community Activity Center with this? Or
I think the idea was that we are going to transition between the Community Activity Center and the N1.
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting idea.
The CAC being much more intense and N1 obviously being.
Yeah, I mean, and the rest of what's along Westerly Hills is, more housing like this particular one. I'm just wondering if that's going to fall at some point in time in the future. But that's, anybody else have any comments, questions? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 14 on our agenda, 2024-036?
Commissioner Russell, motion to approve, having reviewed the petition and is considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition. I move that we recommend approval of petition 2024-036 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Seeley.
Been moved by Commissioner Russell, seconded by Commissioner Seeley. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes 6-0. We're on to item number 15 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2024-038. And this is by Cambridge Properties, Inc. Max.
Petition 2024-038 is located at the northwest intersection of West W.T. Harris, David Lake Parkway, south of David Cox Road. The site is approximately 3.02 acres and is currently undeveloped. The site is a portion of a property zone CC, Commercial Center Conditional. Proposed zoning is CG, General Commercial, a conventional district. 2040 policy map recommends the commercial place type. CG district is consistent with the commercial place type. This is a conventional rezoning petition. There's not an associated site plan and allow any use permitted in the CG district. Staff recommends approval of the petition as the CG district is consistent with the conference plan, permits a variety of uses that are in keeping with the character of the area, which is generally auto-oriented, but also provides standards that accommodate other modes of travel. And the site is walkable to nearby neighborhoods as well as directly adjacent to daily needs. The site could increase the amenities, goods, and services offered at the existing shopping center. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Max. Do we have any questions, comments from anybody? My only comment is walkable.
It will provide sidewalks along the frontages, and it is adjacent to quite a number of residential developments as well as integrated into an existing shopping center that does have daily services.
I looked at W.T. Harris Boulevard and walkable ran right out of my mind.
In a context to many neighbors in the area, it would be walkable, but if you're talking about from areas outside that you would travel
Or is that
via
Davis
WT
Lake
Harris.
Road or whatever?
Yeah,
Davis
if you're
Lake
on the
Drive.
other side of
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole another issue that
Okay.
we can't really address through individual rezonings.
Okay. Thank you, Max. That's very politically correct. Commissioner Seeley.
Just a random comment. I got to commend staff for finding a picture of Snow's place with snow on the ground.
I did that on purpose.
That our tax dollars should work there. I don't know.
You need to promote this guy.
Yeah. Teresa, I would not turn my back on Max. That's simple as that. Anybody else got a useful comment on this?
I would like to, just Lansdale, I would like
Commissioner Lansdale.
to make a comment about what you had just said, about the logic about we have these things that we have to improve pedestrian and active mobility access to parcels that are in restricted areas. We've had a lot of parcels tonight next to roadways that are far, far more intense than Harris Boulevard. Far, far less capable of making modifications to improve pedestrian access along the state corridor. So yeah, this is a challenge to do this, but at least the improvement will provide the framework for potential and future investment in safety projects along Harris Boulevard. I would imagine that if there is funding available in the long term, we might see an opportunity for an extended mixed-use path, much like the corridors in Raleigh are experiencing now along these major interstates and state thoroughfares, major thoroughfares that provide a much more robust, separated AAA facility, all ages and ability facility. So yes, these incremental improvements do have merit, parcel by parcel. Proximity to these types of roadways, while I appreciate the comment here on this particular parcel, it seems inconsistent with some of the conversation we've had tonight on several other parcels. But I'll make a motion at the appropriate time.
All right. Do we hear any other comments? Anybody got a response? All right. Do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 15 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2024-038?
Lansdale, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move to recommend the approval of petition number 2024038 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Seeley.
It's been moved by Lansdale, seconded by Seeley. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 6-0. We're on to item number 16 on our agenda, rezoning petition number 2024-039 by Gethsemane Cemetery and Memorial Gardens. And Michael, would you take us through this one, please?
Sure, 2024-039. This is approximately 10.65 acres located on the east side of West Sugar Creek Road and north side of the Roman Road, west of Mineral Springs Road. You can see there are three individual groupings of parcels there. The current zoning is neighborhood 1B. The proposed zoning is institutional campus 1. The 2040 policy map calls for neighborhood 1 along here. This is a conventional request, so there's no site plan. The petition is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for neighborhood 1 place type. However, the preferred neighborhood 1 adjacency is present with this petition. The site is also adjacent to the campus place type and would unify the parcels currently owned by the Gethsemane Cemetery to one place type, allowing for a consistent development pattern. And the IC1 institutional campus zoning district is intended to address the needs and impacts of large-scale institutional campuses, including religious campuses. So staff does recommend approval of this petition. I'd like to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Michael. Do we have any comments, questions?
This might be, this is
Commissioner
Lansdale.
Lansdale.
Yes, this might be for the dais when they get it. I know there was a lot of conversation about trying to understand it and its process. Is there a simple way you can put it in the sentence that kind of gets us to where we need to be?
I'm not sure what the question.
Well, where the building is going to go, how we're going to protect, because it's 3 parcels, and there was conversation about what was going to be able to be put there and what wasn't.
Right, so there are the 3 different parcels, but it's owned by the same people that own the cemetery. And from my understanding, at the present time, the existing houses would remain there, but it allows the cemetery to sort of consolidate into one place type for future growth and use of the cemetery.
And there was some conversation about the requirements for cemetery classification about the acreage.
Right, yeah, it has to be over a certain acreage, I'm not sure.
It's still kind of confusing to me, but I don't have any issues with it at this point. But I know it was hard. It was a hard conversation at the dais, and it's a hard one for me to figure out as well. Sorry, I have such a small brain on this one, but thank you.
Anybody else got any questions? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 16 on our agenda, rezoning petition 2024-039?
Motion Seeley to approve, having reviewed the petition and consider the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2024-039 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency, and the adoption of our own consistency statement that we will prepare. No, wait, I did get it right. Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Oh God, we have a motion? Is there a second?
Second, Wilden.
It's been moved by Seeley and seconded by Wilden. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes 6-0. And we're on to item number 17. Rezoning petition number 2024-041 by McElway Road Ventures LLC. And who's going to be Claire now? Teresa, you're still Claire? Okay, do your best.
Home Depot is located across McElway Craig intersection. Keep forgetting this. There's a townhome project under construction immediately to the south. Property surrounding the site to the east, west, and south are zoned N2B, and there is N1B zoning as you move southeast on Craig Avenue as the area transitions to a more single-family conventional development pattern. The Home Depot is zoned commercial center, and there is also a mix of OFC, CG, and ML2 zoning present in the area. The place type for the subject site is N1, but the McElway Road corridor includes a mix of neighborhood 2, commercial, and neighborhood center place types. Staff recommends approval of the petition to rezone the site to N2B, as it will allow for the site to be developed with a mix of residential uses that are consistent and compatible with the existing mix of multi-dwelling development, single-family, and commercial uses in the area. There are residential support uses in the vicinity, and the site is within a quarter mile of a neighborhood center. The site is also identified as an access to housing gap and could facilitate Goal 2 of the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. Approval of this rezoning will change the place type to neighborhood 2, consistent with the place type immediately to the west. Here, if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions, comments?
I have a question. Teresa, and if you would go back to the place type. So you've got a neighborhood 2 to the right, screen right of McElway, and then neighborhood 1 to screen left. But then when you look at the zoning overlay, that neighborhood 1 most of it is zoned N2B.
That's correct.
Is there any, what's the rationale behind the McElway being the dividing line between neighborhood 1 and neighborhood 2?
There's the rationale. I think we're looking at what was on the ground, and that's probably reflective of the place types that you see.
My place types are different on here.
Are you looking at zoning or
I'm just looking at place types on 20, I'm on policy map.
Yeah, place type is in.
Okay.
So the zoning is probably reflective of.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Do I have any questions, comments? Commissioner Lansdale?
Yeah, this might be for CDOT. Can we talk a little bit about, when we talk about the CDOT streets maps, it looks like there's sidewalk next to curb and gutter, I think along the for the southwest area. And then we have the utility right of way directly associated with that. We don't have, I didn't see any mention of buffers or setbacks or sidewalks on this. So maybe someone, Teresa or someone on staff can answer the question about those designs for this piece. And I know it's conventional, we can't go too far, but I guess the question for that would be, when you have a back of curb sidewalk, does the conventional zoning allow for a continued back of curb sidewalk along this parcel?
Hi, Natalie King from CDOT. So when this comes through permitting, the UDO has certain triggers that are listed in Article 32. And typically, if it does not have a planting strip, then the sidewalk is considered substandard, which even has tighter triggers for it. So I cannot tell you off the top of my head if it will automatically be triggered, but when it comes in, that will certainly be reviewed. And if it does meet those set forth in the UDO, then we will make sure that the sidewalk is put in as dictated by Charlotte Street Map.
Great, thanks for the clarification. I think that's an important part for our predecessor, or our people who are going to follow behind, to have that conversation about how changes will automatically occur with that. And also for our people who follow behind us as well. You know, oftentimes I look at the utility placement. Sometimes we have petitioners and petitioners agents make arguments associated with, well, we can't give up this space, we can't give up that space because it affects our ability to provide houses, when decisions around utility corridors and the like have already been made previously. We also have situations where hopefully the Charlotte Streets manual will help correct, and where we don't allow for utility poles to be put in the middle of sidewalks like we have in the past. So thank you very, very much for the clarification. Motion at the appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? If not, do I hear a motion for the disposition of item number 17, rezoning petition number 2024-041?
Lansdale, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move we recommend the approval of petition number 2024-041 as it appears before us, and adopt the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Second, Seeley.
Been moved by Lansdale, seconded by Seeley. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 6-0. This is the part where we've reached the end of our agenda, and it's like, you know, the Beatles are breaking up or something here. Yeah, so I don't know who's going to be John. Do I hear a motion for us to adjourn this thing?
So move.
All right, we're out of here, everybody. Stick a fork in.